Greetings ladies and gentlefish, and welcome to some more World of Tanks. In this video we're going to have a bit of a peruse at the Sherman. It's a machine that appears an awful lot in this game, and as well it might. It is one of the was one of the most numerous tanks during the Second World War, and arguably one of the most influential. So we're going to have a look at, not all of them because there are a lot of different Shermans in this game, but we're going to have a look at a selection. Starting off proceedings, we have yours truly driving the Sherman 3. In the game, this is the Tier 5 British medium tank. Bear in mind, a number of machines were sent from the States to Britain as part of the Lend-Lease programme when the British were struggling with, well, materials for the war, essentially. So this is being played... Goodbye, Mr. Covenanter. This is being played on my second account, Bane of Gerbils, hence the different username, and I am using the 105mm derp gun. This tank, as with the Tier 5 American Sherman, they're very, very, very similar tanks. They get an option of two different guns, the 105mm howitzer that I'm using, and a 76mm anti-tank gun. I don't like the 76mm because it is still pretty derpy and inaccurate. And to my mind, if you're going to use a derpy, inaccurate gun, you might as well have something that has a bit of, well, derp behind it. So, like I said, this is the 105mm howitzer. We're top tier, hence we were just able to execute that Covenanter. Hello, Mr. Crusader, and you go the same way. I'm not using premium ammunition here. This is just good old-fashioned regular high explosive, but so far we've managed to one-shot a pair of British light tanks. This is a patch 9.17 game, so the Crusader was still a light tank when I played this game. Pushing up towards these Luxes, nah, they're not having any of it. They've seen the writing on the wall. However, if you pay attention to the score screen, it's 2-7. Those two kills are mine, and the team is just collapsing, which is a little bit dubious. So I've driven myself into the capture circle here, in the hope that, I don't think we're going to be able to fight these guys off. You know, they've still got an OI experimental, T25, etc. So I'm hoping at the very least we can draw the enemy team toward us and execute them as they arrive. I mean, at this point I'm thinking this is a really dicey game. We just needed our team to hold on that a little bit longer. But there we go. So we're just going to try and cap this. We just lost our T50. We've got an Excelsior and a KV-1 and a Crusader trying to hold back the Horde, which means there is myself, a T14 and an IKV who are attempting to go through with this cap. Excelsior, really wish he'd come and joined us. That would have been very nice indeed. Just trying to position myself such that that Panzer won't be able to shoot me, but hello, there's a Lux. Oh dear. And there's a T56 GMC, and there's the Panzer 3-4, and there's the Stug, and this is all going to go wrong. But we execute that Lux, although not before he manages to reset one of us, and the other Lux resets me. So, yeah, we're not really going to be able to win this by cap anymore, but there goes kill number 4, and we kill the other Lux as well. I don't think we're going to be able to cap this game out, so I think it is worth pushing through, seeing if I can execute that Panzer 3-4, just to mean that we're not fighting on two different flanks, because, well, that sucks. Panzer 3-4, and there we go, he becomes kill number 5. And turn around. T14 takes out the M3 Lee, and suddenly the scorelines aren't looking quite so bad at 8 kills to 9. But hello, there's an OI experimental. Take a shot on the move, which misses. And it looks like the OI experimental goes for our Excelsior. Oh, there goes the Excelsior, and STRV, nah, missed that shot. Just Pushing forwards. I feel I should point out, by the way, I don't have a gun rammer or anything like that on this tank. Type 95. Nice soft squidgy armor. Oh, we don't penetrate. Oh well. Still 188 damage. We're still 2 kills down. Be really nice if we could finish this guy off. There's a Top Gun. OI Experimental, Stug, and STRV. OI Experimental gets taken out by our KV-1, but we lose our T14, unfortunately. There's a Matilda. Nasty gun on that Tilly. Don't want to give him too much of a chance to shoot me. There we go, we shave off a chunk of his health with our howitzer. We just lost our KV-1, unfortunately. Trying to find the gun depression to shoot this guy. Yeah, I take a hit from the Matilda for my troubles, which is slightly annoying. I believe the Sherman 3 here has 10 degrees of gun depression off the top of my head. Hello, Mr. Matilda. 82 into your face. I'm hoping one more shot will kill this guy. Oh, there's an STRV. This is looking rather dicey. And 102 into him. Exploded on the tracks, so not a penetration, unfortunately. Trying to dodge the enemy artillery, and we take 1 hit from him. There we go. We make sure we aim for a bit that's not the tracks. There's kill number 7. Matilda here is going to be a problem. There's kill number 8. And that leaves a Stug 3G and the artillery. Speaking of the artillery, we are done. That leaves our M41 HMC versus a Stug 3G and the AMX-13AM artillery piece. I'm going to speed this along. M41 finds the HMC, finds the Stug, executes him, but gets tracked in the process. Keep moving this along. There is 1 plays 1. The enemy AMX misses his shot, and it's artillery on artillery. Oh dear. Now, the M41 is thinking about trying to cap. It would take an awfully long time to try and cap this out. He sits here for an awfully long time. I've said awfully long time far too much. He sits here for a long time in the end. He's just waiting to see if the enemy AMX is actually going to try and come for him. As it is, it doesn't happen. So he goes hunting the enemy AMX. And then swings back to base. Oh, but we know where the AMX is now. He just went through our base, and now we have a duel of the 2 artilleries. And who is going to win? The problem is the AMX has the mobility advantage, but Mexican standoff. The M41 does have the splash advantage. There's 1 minute 57 left. M41 unfortunately fires on the move, goes off way too soon, and the AMX finishes him off. So unfortunately that game was actually a defeat. Let's go and have a look at the post-game stats. Well, here we go then. Despite that being a defeat, I managed to pick up Fire for Effect, Bruiser, Duelist, Ace Tanker, Top Gun, Radley Walters medal, and is that a Nadin's medal? Something like that. You get it for killing all the light tanks on the enemy team. Which was a pretty respectable haul of awards. 1,843 damage done, 8 kills, 808 base experience. Unfortunately, the rest of my team, well, to be fair to them, the M41, the KV-1, both put in respectable showings. They did more damage than they have health. But the number of tanks who just did basically nothing is annoying. Congratulations to the enemy Stug 3G, almost 2,000 damage. That's a good effort from him. And the AMX-13AM, 5 kills from him is a good showing as well. 15 shots fired, 12 hits, 12 penetrations for that damage count. 11 hits received, 9 penetrated, 2 did not. And I, of course, died in the end. Made 18,000 credits profit from a standard account. And once you factor in Courageous Resistance, we had 1,257 experience from that, plus some free XP. So a good game, even if we weren't actually able to secure the win. Here we go then. Our second game is in the M4A3E8. This is the Tier 6 American medium tank, the Sherman Easy 8. Compared to the Tier 5 Sherman, it's a bit more mobile. has a very similar gun, 76mm gun here, but things like the aim time, the accuracy, the rate of fire, all those things are considerably better. The Easy 8 is being driven for us today by Draminicus. He is top tier here on the map that I can never remember the name of. Fjords, there we go. That's the one. There are two tier 6, regular tier 6 American medium tanks. Both of them are Shermans. You've got the Easy 8 here, and you've also got the Sherman Jumbo, which trades in some of that mobility for a bit more armour. Personally, I prefer the Easy 8, but I know people who really like the Jumbo. You can also use the 105mm howitzer on these tanks, but here at tier 6 it's not quite as good as it was down at tier 5. But on this tank, if you're using this 76mm gun, with a decent crew and a rammer and vents and all that good stuff, you can get the reload down to under 3 seconds, which is pretty good. 128 penetration and 115 alpha damage. If you want to fire a little bit of APCR, that penetration jumps up to, I think it's 177. Now, this, unfortunately, it's another replay where the consumables and whatnot are bugged out, so we're not going to know what ammunition Drim is firing, or anything like that. But we should still be able to see, hopefully, a pretty decent game. So the location that Drim has gone to here it's a fairly common location for more mobile tanks to go to. He managed to spot out that Stug 4 and put a shot into him fairly early on, but there doesn't seem to be anyone else there who wants to get involved, which is a bit of a shame. Type T25 over there, probably wouldn't be able to get a shot on him. Nah. No shots available. And Drim is taking the opportunity to push up. There's that Stug from earlier on. Drim has... well, I don't know if Drim has been spotted here. It looks like, given the aim time that Drim is working with, I wouldn't be surprised if Drim wasn't using a fully pimped out crew, but I could be wrong. There, I'm not entirely sure. It's been a while since I played the Sherman Easy 8. So that could just be me being a complete idiot coming through. Anyway, Drim is pushing through. If he can kill that Stug 4, that would be nice. Get the gun out of the way. Stug 4 shoots him. Thankfully, the Stug appears... No, it was the SAV who shot him. Thankfully, the SAV appears to be shooting high explosive. Drim finishes off the Stug 4, and a friendly Sherman nukes that SAV with his, presumably using the 105mm howitzer. And Drim is gentleman enough to say, "Ta. Cheers very much. Your help was appreciated. Don't ask me why I've gone into a God only knows what accent." So, Drim is currently on 1 kill. Spotted a Nashorn here. Now, this is one of those situations where if you're going to take this guy on, I'd recommend switching to high explosive ammunition. The Nashorn is very, very weakly armoured, and the high explosive rounds from this 76mm gun, while they may not be the best high explosive rounds in the world, they should still be capable of dealing with that Nashorn. This is a bit dicey, that we know there's a Nashorn and a Stug down there, both of whom could give Drim here a few problems. Having said that, hello, there are some enemy tanks, and let's get rid of that Type T25. Bounces the shot from the Panzer IV, puts one into him, takes one in return, but he should load before this guy does, or reload even. And there we go, those two medium tanks become kills number 2 and 3. Drim doing a little bit of gymnastics there to try and turn around, but he doesn't want to get nuked by artillery, to be fair. Yeah, so the Stug and the Nashorn were last spotted back there. That artillery is really trying to kill Drim here. Stug and Nashorn last seen over there. Don't really want to eat shots from them, but can't sit behind a rock forever. So Drim has decided he's going to move forward and see if he can do something about them. And there they are. Unfortunately, those guys will probably be spotting Drim for artillery, which, yeah, isn't optimal. But there is a T28 coming up behind them, speaking of the artillery. So these guys should hopefully be distracted, and there's the artillery. Drim has spotted him out. One shot. Nice high damage roll. He might be using high explosive there, to be fair. and some assistance damage as the STR finishes him off. T28 eventually dies, unfortunately. Drim wasn't really able to move up in time to help him out, but he did manage to take some health off of these guys. So Drim is coming around and looks like he's trying to approach from an unexpected direction. These tank destroyers know Drim was last spotted out on the field, so they're looking the wrong way. HE round into the side of that Nashorn. That was a poorly aimed shot. Took the tracks out. It could have just killed the guy if he'd aimed for the superstructure. Having said that, it worked out in the end anyway. One shot into the Stug and another to kill him, and they become kills number 4 and 5. OI now. Now this is a problem. The frontal armour of the OI is very considerable. Drim, if he's going to try and penetrate this guy frontally, really needs APCR. Yep, bounce, and doesn't want to get nuked by that howitzer. Oh, good lord, there we go. But let's take advantage of the fact that this guy is now reloading. One more shot should do the job. There we go, there's kill number 6, and unfortunately, heavy tank number 6 was just waiting around the corner to finish Drim off, which, well, that is unfortunate. Heavy tank number 6 then also takes out the Su-85B. Oh dear. So, speed this along a little bit. These guys are just attacking this heavy tank number 6 piecemeal. He takes out the T67. STRV can only take, well, can't even take a shot from the HT number 6, and I'm not going to make you watch the rest of this. Unfortunately, that Japanese heavy tank does carry this game for his team right at the end there. So let's go and have a look at the post-game stats. Another rather unfortunate result there for Drim in his Easy 8 Sherman. Ace Tanker, Bruiser, Fighter, Fire for Effect, and Top Gun there, but not enough for the win. 1,768 damage done, 6 kills, 706 base experience. Shoutouts should go to the enemy heavy tank number 6 for carrying that game right at the end there, and also to the enemy OI who managed 2.8k damage and 4 kills before he was taken out by Drim's Easy 8 Sherman. 22 shots fired, 19 hits, 17 penetrations for that damage count, 177 damage from more than 300 meters, most of it from pretty close range. Received 6 hits, 4 penetrated, 2 didn't. And 470 assistance damage as well. The ammunition resupply costs there indicate that Drim did indeed fire some APCR, I would imagine, against that OI, because why wouldn't you? And still a respectable amount of experience made for Drim's Easy 8 there. So a good game, even if he wasn't quite able to pull a win out of the bag. Staying at tier 6 then, this is another tier 6 Sherman. This one's slightly different. This is not one of the regular tech tree tanks. This is actually the Fury. It is another Easy 8, but this is the tank that Wargaming released to coincide with the release of the film Fury. It is basically an M8, well, an Easy 8 M8. It's not an M8, it's an M4A3E8 Sherman. Same as we saw in the previous match, but with a different skin on it, and with Fury written on the gun barrel. So it's a very, very, very similar tank to the one we saw Draminicus play in the previous replay. However, I thought it was worth showing because, well, it's a bit pretty. These things aren't always available for sale. Sometimes people like to pick them up when they do become available, and this is a pretty decent game anyway. So this is being driven for us today by Makara, and this is a tier 6 match, so like the other games we've seen so far in this video, he is top tier, and we are here on Redshire, which is not a bad map for the Sherman. Good gun depression on the tank means that you, well, can take advantage of the hills and ridge lines, as Mac is attempting to do here, in order to shoot the bad guys. Now, the gun on this tank, we didn't really see much of the accuracy of the gun in the last match. This is the same gun as you saw Indrominicus's game, the accuracy on the gun is not fantastic. The aiming time's pretty good. You can fit a vertical stabilizer to get good on the move accuracy, but the fully aimed accuracy is less than stellar. The penetration is also, well, 128, yeah, and the alpha damage, they're all right, usable, but not exactly something you would call a strength. So Mac here is just working over that Panzer IV and eventually manages to take him out for kill number 1. So not a bad start at all. Friendly team is 2-1 the better. Hello, Mr. KV1. Yeah, KV1 from this range with this gun, that's a bit of a dicey target. If you're going to shoot at a KV1 with this gun, you really need to be able to pick out the weaker parts of his armor profile, which you can't really do from this range. So, yeah. But Mac is going to move forwards, supporting his team. Now, it does have to be a little bit careful. There are 3 artillery on each team, so if one gets spotted, that could be bad. All of these matches are patch 9.17, so this is the old artillery. If they hit you, they're going to do an awful lot of damage. Pair of T28s being spotted. Miss. That's a shame. Have another shot. Nah, not sure if that one hit or not. That one probably didn't. And the friendly team have lost a couple of tanks now, so that they are actually losing, unfortunately. Friendly KV1 has, well, bitten off a little bit more than he can chew in the shape of that Jagdpanzer IV. That is a tier 6 German tank destroyer with pretty impressive DPM. You do actually want to think twice before engaging him. Nonetheless, the Hummel is able to avenge that heavy tank. Scoreline is 3-5, 3-6, so this is not looking particularly fantastic for Mac's team. Having said that, there's that KV1 from earlier on, and if that guy's just going to show his side armor, well, he's tracked. Yeah, things aren't going to go particularly well for him in that case. Kill number 2. Scoreline is 4-7. Now we know there's a couple of T28s down toward the enemy cap circle. We know there's a Type T34 and a Skoda T25 are spotted on the hill, but there is currently a Hellcat and friend pushing towards the friendly base. The scoreline is 4-8, so this is looking really rather dodgy. Hopefully Matt can do something about it. Well, there's the Skoda. Typical, isn't it? First shot fails to kill him. Second shot actually bounces off the terrible armour of that tank. I must say, I think Mac's aim there was a little dicey. He did get unlucky, don't get me wrong, but I think his aim was also a little dodgy. There's the Skoda T25, however. Aiming is for chumps, though. Mac takes one hit there, which is a little unfortunate, but does at least manage to kill the guy, and he becomes Mac's third kill. Type T34 there would also be a one-shot. It'd be really nice if Mac could make him kill number 4. Nope, artillery takes him out. That's absolutely fine. So Mac wants to get himself into a position where he can use this good gun depression to take out the bad guys, and preferably from where he can do something about that Hellcat. Hellcat's currently on 3 kills. He's showing that he is a dangerous individual, although he did just get a little bit of a thwonking. And if nothing else, Mac here can spot for artillery. Hellcat is in the friendly base, eating the friendly cookies. I would be tempted to switch to high explosive here. Again, replay bug. I've no idea if Mac has or not. Looks like not, because that shot took out the guy's tracks. And the Hellcat has such poor armour that high explosive can be your friend. SAV M43 here as well. That was the Hellcat's little friend. Mac's just trying to find a better angle. You know he's hit the Hellcat as he managed to reduce the capture points. Artillery takes out the SAV. There's still that Hellcat and one other person. Oh, T28 has made it all the way around. Mac doesn't quite have the gun depression to safely pop over this ridgeline and shoot these guys. Enemy artillery's trying to do something about him. There we go. Takes a chance. puts a shot into the T28, eats a shot from that 90mm gun on the Hellcat, and artillery tracks him in place, repairs the track. Hellcat is down, and Mac picks off this T28 platoon with great aplomb. There we go, but the enemy artillery is just working him over. Tracks up, let's get the hell out of there. Yep. 80 health remaining, but the base needed to be defended. Enemy team has a Nashorn, and then it's down to the soft squishy artillery. Well, the Nashorn is also soft and squishy, but yeah. Mac, however, has 80 health. He is happily a one-shot if anyone so much as sneezes in his general direction. But he's also got 5 kills. Not too shabby. Now, I can tell from although I don't know exactly the equipment that Mac uses, I can have a pretty educated guess. From the view range circle on the minimap, I would guess that Mac uses optics on his Fury. And then on top of that, I would assume a vertical stabilizer, because the Shermans from tier 6 and upwards can mount vertical stabilizers, and if you can mount that piece of equipment on a tank, you do. And the last piece of equipment, I imagine, is almost certainly a gun rammer. On my Sherman Easy 8, I have very similar equipment set up, but for some reason I just never got on with optics on the Easy 8. I like maximising the gun, so instead of optics I use vents. And then a vertical stabilizer and a gun rammer. Now, against the Nashorn, HE would be the ammunition of choice, as I mentioned in the previous replay. I know Mac is just trying to spot these guys, so hopefully friendly artillery can do something about them, but if he is presented with a shot, HE would be the way to go. HE into the superstructure. Mac can't really stay here forever because that artillery, as we can see, is trying to kill him, which is terribly unsporting of them, I think. Now, in a way, thankfully, this isn't a patch 9.18 game, because some of those artillery shots that have gone fairly close to Mac, well, the explosion radius would have been big enough to catch him, and he wouldn't need to take much damage before it all went wrong. Oh dear, right, one of the friendly artillery pieces has gone. Mac is putting shots into this B2, the artillery version, but yeah, and manages to kill him for kill number 6. Don't know what that guy thought he was going to achieve by being there, but never mind. And against that thing, it's on the chassis of a heavy tank, so arm-piercing is not a terrible ammunition choice at all. It's probably the more reliable ammo choice. So, trying to spot this Nashorn once again, it would be really nice if the friendly Hummel were able to land a shot on him. Mac auto-aims, yeah, that's a slightly difficult position for the friendly artillery to get shots into. But Mac, of course, is going to be very concerned by his 80 hit points. Superstructure, that's where the HE rounds would really do you well. Yeah. With HE, this guy could potentially already be dead. Certainly wouldn't have taken this 4th shot. Nonetheless, Mac is able to kill this guy with some good use of on-the-move accuracy and some jinking and whatnot. So, Mac is trying to make his course a bit unpredictable and get some cover so that he doesn't get nuked by artillery. It's just the AMX and the Gorilla remaining. I'm going to speed this along a little bit until we find one of those fellows. By all means, have some music playing in the background whilst we look for the AMX and the Gorilla. They're probably over by the base. There's the Gorilla. There's 1 shot, 2 shots. And this is again where that high explosive would be your friend. The Gorilla's armor is terrible, so HE would have meant that that guy would be dead in 2 shots. That leaves the AMX-13 F3. Against him, yeah, AP is the right ammunition choice. So Mac is just coming around to try and hopefully take this guy roughly from behind. Now, the AMX was, of course, reloading, but I'm not quite sure, can't remember off the top of my head what the reload of this guy is. So it's entirely possible that he'll be reloaded, doesn't matter, as the Hummel takes him out and finishes off the game. So, let's go and have a look at the post-game stats. Finally, a game that wasn't a defeat. Right, that game was enough for Ace Tanker, Hand of God, Bruiser, Fighter, Fire for Effect, Defender, High Caliber, Top Gun, and a Radley Walters medal for those 8 kills. And the list of tanks that Mac was able to damage is pretty substantial. 2,045 damage done, 8 kills, 1,552 base experience. Shoutouts should also go to the T-82 HMC, low tier artillery piece, but he still managed 1,400 damage. The Hummel for picking up that last kill right at the end, and the enemy Hellcat, 1,942 damage done, 4 kills, unfortunately not quite enough for the win. 43 shots fired, 31 hits, 24 penetrations for that damage count, most of which was from fairly close range. The armour only bounced 1 low caliber shell, nothing to really write home about. 1,000 assistance damage into the bargain, 34 basically 1,000 credits profit, and a very nice amount of experience to take home. The only critique I would make of that game would be Mac's ammunition choice. There were several targets against whom high explosive, even from that 76mm gun, would have been the way to go. But really nice game overall, and a well-deserved win there. We've got one more game this video, so let's jump into it. After the Second World War, there was a surplus of Sherman hulls and tanks in general lying around, and essentially those nations that had them wanted to find ways to still use them, but make them relevant in post-World War II combat scenarios, and so there were a number of ideas to take a Sherman and upgun them. And as a result, you have things like this tank. This is the M4A1 Revolution, Tier 8 French premium tank. This is essentially a Tier 5 or 6 Sherman with a 105mm gun poking out the turret. Now, you might be thinking, oh good lord, it's a Sherman at Tier 8. That's going to have something going for it. Is it the mobility? Nah, this tank is kind of sluggish. Is it the armour? Nah, this is a Tier 8. Sorry, this is basically a Tier 5 Sherman hull. Is it the gun? Well, the gun fires APCR ammunition as standard, has 200mm of penetration, I believe. Yep. And 390 alpha damage with that standard ammunition. Tier 8 105mm guns usually have 320 alpha damage, and the 390 alpha is reserved for 122mm guns or something like that. But in this particular case, yeah, 390 alpha on a 105 mil gun at Tier 8, which is none too shabby. In fact, it's very, very good. Combine that with what is now, after this tank received a couple of buffs, 10 degrees of gun depression. Goodness knows how you managed to fit the gun breach in the turret, but whatever. And you actually have a pretty tasty tank. If you want to load some high explosive, that alpha damage goes up to 480, of course the penetration goes down, and if you want premium ammunition, you've got 250 pen on heat rounds. And oh, look at that damage. Anyway, the Revolution is being driven for us today by Death of Fools. He is top tier, and he's here on Fiery Salient, in a Tier 8 match, hence, of course, he's top tier. So all of these videos I've had to show you are where the Sherman in question has been top tier, and generally speaking, Sherman tanks do quite like being top tier. Then again, if we're going to be honest, I guess, who doesn't? So, Death here is using his gun depression to pick people out, and oh, he gets spotted, but at least he manages to nuke that KV-2 in the process. Side profile of a Jagdtiger 88 would be quite tasty, but it's a slightly dicey shot. He takes one shot there from a T-37 and really needs to move because that thing's going to keep peppering him, and that would be sad. So he's got himself a Tiger 2, a Scorpion G, and a T-34-85 all over here. Again, trying to pick out side shots on that Jagdtiger 88, but without a huge amount of success. We know there's a Super Pershing down there on this side of the embankment. And the enemy team is losing 4-6. Hurrah! Yay! Never mind. Death is going to push upwards, and oh, hello, that shot. Nah, he should have aimed it a little bit more. The reload on this gun is fairly substantial. I mean, 390 alpha damage at Tier 8, it's going to have quite a long reload. Goes for the snipe on that T-37. Perhaps not the best choice, given that there was a T-150 that had been spotted up on the ridgeline. And this gun, well, the accuracy isn't its selling point, as you are seeing here. This is not a sniper rifle. This is the sort of gun where you can poke out around a corner, derp someone in the face and poke back. Not massively dissimilar to the 122mm gun on the IS-3, if we're going to be honest. And that, no. No. Okay. Death needs to just take a moment here. Because he's taking a few shots and he's not letting them fully aim where he has the time to let them fully aim. There we go. And that takes out the enemy artillery. So, Super Pershing over here. T-37 has bugged out. Super Pershing is dead. Scoreline is 9-9. Enemy team is capping. Really need to do something about that. Because in 45 seconds, the enemy team wins this match at this point. Oh, more people in the capture circle. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Right. Okay. So, Jagdtiger 88 just there. T-44 100 as well. Shots into the side of that Jagdtiger. Yes. Reset. Not a huge reset, but a bit of a reset. Now, Death could shoot the T-29 up on the hill there, but he is trying to get those resets in. Manages to put another shot into that Jagdtiger 88. Tiger 2 silhouettes himself on the ridgeline, which I'm not quite sure is the best idea he's ever had, but never mind. He is still alive. Death manages to execute that T-37, and these guys are in the capture circle now. So they are pausing the cap counter, and actually the Tiger 2 manages to put a shot into that T-44 100. And, and voila, that ends up being for the best. No, it was a T-54 Mod 1, what am I talking about? Scoreline is 12-12. T-44 100, Ferdinand and T-29 are remaining. And now it is the friendly team's turn to be sitting in the capture circle eating all of the capture cookies. Ferdinand we know was last spotted up at B9. T-44 last spotted at K7, K8. And yeah, these guys are trying to form a Brothers in Arms platoon on the fly. Now we do have to be a bit careful. Death here has a good amount of health. That Tiger 2 however has taken a bit of a pasting. He's down to 146 health. Someone spots Death's ravioli here. And hello, Mr. T-29. Ow. Yeah, this is not a good position for Death to be in. Having said that, the Tiger 2 does manage to put one into that T-29. This is not the best position because Death doesn't really have much cover here, and he is aiming for quite a slim shot. He can't hit the turret of that T-29. Well, if he does hit the turret, the shot will bounce. Really wants to just... There we go, and picks up the kill there. It's worth pointing out, by the way, these last three guys who are left alive have 12 kills. Oh, no. No, no, no. Tiger 2 gets taken out by the T-44 100, and there's the Ferdinand. Blind shot toward the T-44 100, roughly where he was last spotted, but Rectal Ferdinand is not best Ferdinand. So, Death moves forwards here. He wants to get some cover between himself and that Ferdinand, because that 128mm gun will hurt. Takes a shot from the T-44, not as bad as taking a shot from the Ferdy, but the T-44's reload is being kind of annoying. Puts one shot into the Ferdinand, and oh, this is dicey. Ooh, thankfully the Ferdinand is using the small gun, so takes the shot from that guy, and manages to wedge himself right in there behind the Ferdinand, so the Ferdinand can't just turn around. And appears to be struggling with aim or something. Don't know why Death hasn't already killed this guy. There we go. He is dead, and that is the game. Let's go and have a look at the post-game stats. Here we go then. That game was enough for Ace Tanker, Spotter, Hand of God, Duelist, Fighter, Fire for Effect, and a crucial contribution for Death of Fools there. That ad hoc platoon, between them, they managed 6, 11, 14 kills. 14. 14? Really? 6, 7? Yes, 14. 15 on the enemy team. They managed 14 kills. Not entirely sure how that maths works. Maybe someone on the enemy team committed suicide or something. Anyway, unfortunately the Tiger II died, so they weren't able to pick up a Brothers in Arms medal as well for that. 4,115 damage done, 5 kills, 1,447 base experience is a very nice result there for Death in his M4A1. The Rheinmetall Scorpion, who joined his platoon, 4,630 damage done, 6 kills, 1,232 base experience. And that Tiger II should also have a shout out. Has to BGD, whatever his name is, 2,651 damage, 3 kills, and over 1,000 base experience. Those three really did carry their team. Commiserations to the enemy T-44-100, 2,854 damage, a Radley Walters medal. Not enough for the win on this occasion, I'm afraid. Sorry about that, mate. Anyway, Ravioli, 19 shots fired, 15 hits, 13 penetrations for that damage count, most of which was from relatively short range. 6 hits received, 5 penetrated, 1 did not, just 1 bounce from the T-37 there. I mean, it's a Sherman at the end of the day, and this is tier 8. 1 enemy vehicle spotted, 1,874 assistance damage, 45 base defense points. Yeah. With a standard account, that was a 69,000 credit profit. Tier 8 premiums are quite the money makers. And a total of 1,592 experience there, plus 72 free experience into the bargain. So there we go. I hope you enjoyed that rundown of Sherman tanks. If you did, by all means feel free to catch some of my other videos and or subscribe to my channel, and if you would like to have one of your replays featured in one of these videos, then upload your replay file to whatreplays.com, send me the URL to that replay in a personal message on YouTube, and I shall take a look. I try to prioritise either people or tanks that we haven't seen very much of or haven't seen before, or perhaps that the tank has undergone significant changes. Anyway, feel free to send yours over, and I shall take a look. And as ever, I wish you all very happy hunting on that battlefield. Ciao, ciao.